So, guys, first off, man, thank you. I really appreciate you guys stopping by, checking out this amazing webinar that I have scheduled for you guys. In this webinar, we're going to be talking about how entrepreneurs and professionals can build unshakable confidence in their business or career. And I really do mean this, even if you have anxiety or depression. I think for a lot of people, they feel that that is the end all be all. When I have anxiety, when I have depression, that means that I can no longer be confident. And we definitely want to debunk that myth. And that's what we're going to do in this presentation. So, man, I always tell people, if you got a chance to take notes, go ahead and take them. And as I'm doing that, I want to ask you guys a question. Can I tell you a story about a goat? And here's the thing, guys. I'm not talking about just any goat, but it is the one and only goat, Michael Jordan, right? The greatest of all time. Now, here's the thing, man. Michael Jordan, before the championships, we know him to be the guy that was just killing the league, right? Had all the points, could get all the steals, played best defense, right? Even when Defensive Player of the Year was the MVP of the league. We know Jordan as the guy, but he was the guy without the championships. He was kind of like the Carmelo Anthony of the time, right? Just a version of Carmelo that could score a lot of points, but also play a really good defense. And his scoring was it was actually so good that he led the league in scoring in 87, 88, 89, and even 90. So 4 straight years, he led the league in scoring. So you have to ask yourself, how could a guy be so good, not win a championship? And it's because there was this one team out there they just couldn't get past, and it was the Detroit Pistons. And ironically, we have someone from Detroit, so I know he's probably jumping and hollering like, hey, yes, the Detroit Pistons, they were the bad boy Pistons. I tell people they were kind of like the Joker of the league. If we saw, let's say, Michael Jordan as Superman or Batman or whatever the case may be, the bad boy Pistons, they were like the Jokers or the Lex Luthors. They were just the bullies on the block. And there was such a bully that whenever Jordan went to the hole, man, they would literally beat him up. As you can see in this picture on the far left, you have the point guard, Isaiah Thomas, literally jumping over his head, almost trying to put him in a headlock. And then on the bottom, you see Dennis Rodman literally kneeing and punching him in his crotch. I mean, they just tore this man up. They beat him down, and this is why Jordan wasn't able to make it to the finals, right? Because he couldn't get past the bad boy Pistons. But all that changed when he found a coach. But even more so, he found a system. When you have a coach and when you have a system, you're able to reach heights that you never thought was possible. And it doesn't matter how great you are. If you don't have a coach and if you don't have a system, you won't become a champion. And fortunately for Michael, he was able to go from the guy that was just scoring a lot of points to the guy that's known as the GOAT because he was able to win these championships, right? Like that's the power of having a system and having the right coach, all right? Now, right now, this may be you, right? You guys probably great at what you do. Probably feel like you also have some unhidden or unlocked potential that you want to get unleashed. And what you're looking for is a coach, right? That's what you're looking for. That's what you need. And not only do you need a coach, but you need a system as well. And when you find these things, you too will become a champion, right? Again, Jordan, best player in the league, and probably would have still been known as one of the greatest of all time. But when he found a coach, when he found a system, he was able to take things to the next level and become the GOAT as we know it, right? You guys see where I'm going with this? You see what I'm doing here, right? Now, I want to share a story with you guys, right? So back in 2017, I was a high school counselor and, things were okay. Didn't love my job, but hey, I was making ends meet, right? And when I say making ends meet, I mean barely, but I wasn't really feeling fulfilled. So I said, you know what? Let me do what everybody else is doing online and let me just quit my job, right? So I quit my job. I was like, yeah, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I can't wait. But here's the thing they don't tell you about this whole entrepreneurship journey. They don't tell you that there's a time where you're going to struggle. And very quickly, I became a struggling therapist. But just like Jordan, I had to find my coach. So this is Dr. Delvina. She's a psychiatrist down here in South Florida. And also, I learned a system, right? I found a coach, found a system. And once I combined those two things, that's when I started to win my championships. So this is what my championship looked like. It looks like being nominated as one of the best healthcare professionals in all of Miami back in 2023. So whether it's you're a doctor, pharmacist, nurse, surgeon, therapist, whatever it is, I was recognized as one of the best here in South Florida back in 2023. Now, I want to tell you guys about a guy named Andre that I worked with. So Andre, he was an entrepreneur in Silicon Valley. He had early success with building apps, right? That was his whole thing. He could really build apps, very talented. And the thing with him was he was building this new app and he struggled with this self-doubt because the app wasn't doing well. and he wasn't used to failing. That was something that was very new to him. So that's why he decided to reach out to me. But what was even worse about his self-doubt was that he wasn't making money. He was having poor conversion rates with his business, and he just felt like, man, he was struggling, and maybe he should just give up, just throw it in the can, right? So we started meeting, found me as a coach, gave him this system. And here's the thing, guys. 3 months after us working together, Andre ended up making $10,000 in a day. All right. And that is not by chance or anything like that. Like, Andre was a talented guy. He just needed to be able to find a way to get through some of that tough moments, if you will, kind of like how Jordan had to get through those tough moments playing with, or playing against rather, the Detroit Pistons. Now, here's what Andre said after we worked together. He said, I had a tough time finishing things. I would sometimes doubt myself, but you pushed me to think differently, which caused me to stick with an idea. And here's the important part. Even when it was failing, how many of you guys have ever given up on an idea just because you're failing? I've been there, right? I'm not afraid to admit that. And I think that a lot of people have also been there. And that's the thing. We want to make sure that we're able to stick through a goal long enough to see it come together, come to fruition. And that's what I was able to help Andre do with this system and with me being his coach. Now, I want to give a results disclaimer, all right? Because I want to make sure I make this clear. I'm not guaranteeing that you guys will make $10,000 in a day. That's not what I do. I'm not one of these guys making these lofty promises, right? But here's the thing. I will guarantee that you will see progress that you've been waiting for. For some of you guys, you may feel like, man, there's another level I feel I can take things. And, hey, I'm right there with you. I feel like there's another level I can take things. But when you find a coach and you find a system, there's a guarantee that you're going to take things to the next level. And for a lot of you, that's probably what you've been waiting for. Now, how do I know that you guys are going to do well with this program, with this system? Like, how do I know this, right? How do I know that you're going to see progress? Well, here's the facts. You showed up to this webinar. Not too many people do that, right? A lot of people sign up for things, ask for things, but they don't take action on those things. And you guys are already proven to be different from the rest by showing up to this webinar. Second, you're going to stay to the webinar to the end so that you can learn everything about the system and implement it. And then third, you're going to take action at the end of the webinar, right? That's why this is going to help you guys. And that's how I can guarantee that you guys are going to have progress that you've never seen before. Now, what does all this mean, right? Well, this means you love yourself so much that you're willing to invest your time into yourself, time and energy into yourself, your future, your confidence. And that's what we're all here talking about, guys. So who is this for, right? Who is this webinar for? Well, it's for entrepreneurs and professionals that are struggling with confidence, depression, anxiety, self-doubt, self-sabotage, procrastination, addictions, trauma, motivation, grief, divorce, or even breakups. And you guys are going to see that throughout this webinar. Now, who is this not for? Because this is important for me to go through as well. Well, it's not for entrepreneurs, or it's not for entrepreneurs or professionals who are, let's just say, pigs, right? Professional information gatherers, people that learn, read, but they never take action, right? They go to all the conferences, but they don't take action in none of the conferences, right? This is not for those people. It's also not for people that's afraid to invest in themselves, or people that's not ready to make a change, or even dabblers, people that are like, hey, I'm gonna stick my toe in the water, but I'm not gonna get all the way in. This isn't for you guys. I can't guarantee results for people that aren't willing to go head first into the pool. Now, this system, right? This system that I'm going to help you guys to build unshakable confidence, even though you're feeling depressed or anxious, is acceptance therapy. That is what we're going to do. That's what we're going to use, okay? So here's the next thing, guys. You may be asking, all right, what is this thing, right? Like, what is acceptance therapy? Well, here's the thing. It's a system that helps people to become confident without needing positive affirmations. A system that pushes you to achieve your goals even when you have a fear of failing. And also it's a system that stops your overthinking so you can finally obtain happiness even when you're not perfect, right? Again, even when you're not perfect, you're able to find that happiness. So I always tell people it's kind of like going from crying in the rain to smiling in the rain. And the best things about it is that if you can smile in the rain, you can definitely smile when it's not raining, all right? And that's the change that we're looking to make. So my goal for this web class is simple. It's to get you to believe that acceptance therapy is the key to building your confidence and that it's only obtainable through the Mental Performance Club, okay? Now, I want to tell you guys the hard way, right? The hard way that I've been trying to go about learning this stuff, what I've been forced to do for the past 5 years and probably even longer. I've been forced to try to think positive, repeat affirmations 20 times, which is something maybe you guys have done before, fight with my negative thoughts, procrastinate until I believed in myself, or try to avoid uncomfortable feelings, hold on to my past instead of letting it go. All this other stuff is just wasted time and it equals wasted money, right? That's what I've been forced to do. Now, here's the thing. I guarantee, and I mean this, I guarantee that there's not an entrepreneur or professional on this webinar that I couldn't increase your confidence by using acceptance therapy. I guarantee it. Now, because I guarantee it, I want you guys to make a commitment. I want you guys to commit that as soon as you know that acceptance therapy is the key to building your confidence, you will go all the way in, okay? That you will go all the way in, all right? So if you agree with that, just simply type in the chat, yes, like I commit, I'm ready. That's me, right? Give me some sign that, hey, you agree with that statement. Now, once you do that, I want to tell you guys, what does all this mean, right? To go all the way in. Because we hear about this like, hey, I'm all the way in, I'm ready, I'm bought in. But what does it really mean, right? So this house on the left, they did not go all the way in with Christmas decorations, but this house did. This lady on the left, right? If you ever seen the show A Different World, she was not all the way in on her marriage, right? She was ready to leave her husband right at the stage. But this guy, she was all the way in with, okay? Now, this guy on the left had a tough day at basketball practice, probably didn't even make the high school team, right? Just going through it. And he wasn't all the way in. He gave up. But this guy on the right, he was all the way in, all right? And that's the difference, all right? I want you guys to be all the way in. So at the end of this webinar, we want to make you guys a very special offer. So this will be everything you need to finally feel confident. And I guarantee this, guys, in your business and your career, even if you feel depressed or anxious, all right? Now, this may sound crazy, but I'm going to ask you guys for $13,373, all right? Now, I'm going to take a brief pause, and I'm going to allow people to leave the room, leave the webinar, who don't feel that they deserve this investment, right? I feel like, hey, this is too much. I'm not worthy. I'm not this. I'm not that. I want to give a moment for those guys to just leave the room. The reason why is because I really don't want you guys to see this system if you don't believe that you're worth this number, right? And I'll be honest, I've spent this number and even more on my own personal development, and it's worth it, guys. It's worth it. So now that those people have left the room, and only the people that are willing to stay and invest in themselves are here, we're gonna keep going. I'm gonna unlock some of these secrets for you. So what does having more confidence mean to you, right? For everyone, that may mean something a little different. But for you, I'm curious, like what does that actually mean? Like what does being more confident mean to you? So does it mean starting your own business, increasing sales in your business, increasing your salary, not being so depressed in the morning, loving yourself more, ending self-sabotage behaviors, overcoming people pleasing, all this stuff, right? Would you give me $13,373 if I could guarantee you'll be confident enough to get these things, right? If that's the case, go ahead and say yes in the chat. Now, again, I want to make sure that I have the right people in the room, and that's by making this commitment. And the commitment, again, is I commit that as soon as I know that acceptance therapy is the key to building my confidence, I will go all the way in. Now, here's the thing, guys, and I have this in the bottom of my email signature. You're just one decision away. And you may be like, man, what am I just one decision away from? Well, you're just one decision away because the business, the career, the happiness, the life, everything that you want is going to be fueled by the confidence you build using acceptance therapy. And this is the decision that you have to make. It's the decision to go all the way in with this. Now, you guys may be like, all right, who is this guy, right? Who can get on this call and say, hey, if you give me $13,000, I'll be able to guarantee that you'll feel confident in yourself, right? Do I really believe this guy? Well, here's the thing. My name is Philip Wells, as you guys already know, and I'm not just some coach, right? I'm a licensed mental health counselor, meaning that by law, by the ethics of the degree, the license that I have to do right by people. I have to be honest. And even that, I have to maintain a certain level of education. So these are called CEUs, continuing education. I have to stay on top of my game, which means that I'm always staying sharp with the things that I know, right? But even further, as I told you, I've been recognized as a top professional in Miami, but also I work with Grammy-nominated artists, right? Like Come on, guys. Like, who else has been able to work with these guys and also work with professional athletes, six-figure entrepreneurs, seven-figure entrepreneurs, eight-figure entrepreneurs, right? But even medical doctors, software engineers, C-suite employees, so people that are CFOs, CEOs, COOs, and the list goes on in that area as well. But also I've worked with pastors, therapists, and other coaches. So the people that are doing all the helping, they come to me for help with whether it's confidence, overcome their anxiety, overcome their depression, whatever it is, they come to me for those things, right? And just to go a little bit further, like I've been recognized in Voyage Miami, which is another magazine down here, and also in Shout Out Miami, right? But here's the thing, it was not always like this, right? I wasn't always this guy that was getting recognized as one of the top therapists or working with this type of clientele. Like it just wasn't always like that. After I quit my job, as I stated, I struggled, man. I struggled heavily. And it was so bad that I was losing $4,000 a month. Before I was a high school counselor, I wasn't even making $4,000 a month, right? So to be losing even more money than I was making, it was just bad. It was really tough. It was bad. And I was feeling anxious, feeling depressed. And it was bad timing because at the time, I had just moved in with my girlfriend, Alexis, right? And she's literally downstairs right now. She's doing her own little training. But I moved in with Alexis, my wife, and we were dating for 2 years at the time. I wanted to marry her. But here's the thing, guys. I couldn't afford her engagement ring. It's like, damn. I found the person, right? Like I found the person that I want to spend the rest of my life with, but I couldn't afford that engagement ring. It's like, damn, like if things were just in the line just a little bit more, maybe I could buy that ring, right? So it was hard. It was real hard. And again, like that was hard because I wanted to marry her so that we could start building our lives together. But what I really wanted was to feel confident in myself so much that I could not only, accomplish my dreams, but also be able to support us both with my dreams. So I tried everything to build my confidence, thinking positively, repeating affirmations, watching motivational videos, reading self-help books, and even praying, guys. Like I tried everything, but I still wasn't feeling confident. But when I saw this quote from the GOAT, it changed everything. So Jordan once said, I missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. And 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I failed over and over and over again in my life. And that is where I succeed. I'm sitting like, okay, like if Jordan missed 9,000 shots, like I can miss a couple, right? So I was feeling motivated. But here's the thing, man, reality started to sit in real quick because I was still losing money, right? Hey, I can feel motivated, but there's the reality of things. Like I was still losing money. And because I was losing money, my mind started to say things like, you're terrible, you're going to fail, you're not good enough, right? Like, do you guys mind ever says that to yourself? Like, am I the only one that struggle with these thoughts? Like, I'm curious, man. Like, what are some of the things that maybe your mind tells you? So I knew that if I gave up, I'll have to go back to a job that I hated. And man, did I hate it. And I'll have to start living paycheck to paycheck. I would always wonder, what if, right? Like, what if I could own my own business? What if I could buy a nice wedding ring? What if I could provide for my wife? Like, these are all the things that I would start to think if I gave up on my dream. So then I found this system, right? I found this system, and thanks to my good friend, John Carlo, he told me about acceptance therapy. And as I started to read about it, that's when it hit me, right? That's when it hit me what this was all about. And when I say what this was all about, I mean this quote. So what Jordan said, I failed over and over and over again in my life. It wasn't that he was just a failure. It was that he was accepting of these failures. He was willing to fail. And that's what separated him from everybody else. And that's when I realized the new way, right? The new way to being confident had nothing to do with having negative thoughts. The secret was how I carried my negative thoughts, right? That was the secret. It was how I carried my negative thoughts that changed everything. So in the past, I would try to replace negative thoughts with positive thoughts. I would try not to think negatively. I would procrastinate until I believed in myself. But here's the thing, the secret to overcoming negative thoughts was not by fighting them, but it was by accepting them. Like that was the secret. Now, Sun Tzu, if you guys don't know who he is, he's a Chinese military general. He was by far one of the most well-known strategic guys when it comes to warfare. So much so he wrote a book that is now read in a lot of personal development circles, where he talks to you about this art of war, when really he's giving you tactics about how to manage that mental, that mindset piece, if you will. And what he says is that the supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. The guy that knows all the war tricks, all the war strategies, right, all the war techniques, he said the supreme art of war is to subdue, so to beat your enemy without fighting. And that's very ironic, because that's what we're going to do with our anxiety, our depression, our negative thoughts. We're going to subdue them without fighting them. And that is where the acceptance comes in. And that's when everything changed for me, guys. Like, that's when my performance started to improve, even when my anxiety was high. My negative thoughts didn't hold me back. My anxiety turned into excitement. And best of all, my confidence started to grow. Now, because my confidence started to grow using acceptance therapy, I started to get all of these different, amazing testimonies, these amazing changes for my clients. So Sharita said, I attended one of Philip's mental health presentations, just like this, right? And said that he shared very valuable information that would help me with my mental health journey. He's an amazing therapist. I had Vicky, who said, it's a great pleasure working with Coach Wells, very thoughtful, very helpful. And this last part, she said, he offered me a lot of great coping skills and advice that helped me to get out of lows that I didn't think I can get out of. And guys, the testimonies, trust me, they just keep going. They just keep going, guys. So here's the thing, that ring that I couldn't afford at the time, well, because I started to get good as a therapist, because I didn't let my anxiety hold me back, even though I was losing $4,000 and sometimes even $5,000 a month, that ring I couldn't afford, hey, got it. Shout out to Case Jeweler. So I got the ring, but even more importantly, man, we had an amazing wedding. And if you know anything about the Nigerian culture, you have two weddings. So we actually had two weddings. We had one on Friday and then one on Saturday, which was amazing. But here's the thing, man, you can't tell here, but man, there's a third person in this picture, right? There's a third person in this picture, and it ended up being our son, right? 2 weeks later, we had our son, and it was amazing, guys, an amazing experience. This is champion Azuka Wells. Man, he's just a bundle of joy, man, it really is. And then after that, man, I was able to buy us our first home, right? I was able to buy us our first home. And all this came from being able to believe in myself and have this confidence that allowed me to push my business, push myself to a limit that was beyond my anxieties. So I achieved my dream, guys. I achieved my dream of owning a successful business so that I could provide for my family. And what's even cooler, I achieved my goals even when I was having negative thoughts, right? Your mind is telling you, hey, you can't do this. Look at all this money you're losing. You should just go back and be a teacher, right? Like, all that stuff was going through my mind, but I was still able to accomplish these goals. So I want to ask, does this make sense, right? Do you guys see the power of acceptance therapy? All right. Because what I'm about to do is I'm about to go a little bit deeper into this, okay? I'm gonna start giving you guys some of the secrets, some of the steps that help you to build that confidence within yourself, all right? So with that being said, after 5 years, I discovered a hard way to building confidence, where you guys get to cheat and get it the easy way, all right? So if you've been struggling with building your confidence because of your anxiety, because of your depression, this is probably why. One, there's a lot of bad information out there, guys. Trust me, anybody can say they're a guru. And because of that, they're giving a lot of bad information that just doesn't make sense, or even is outdated. Also, social media makes you feel like you're not good enough because everyone's posting their highlight reels. And then also your mind, it's a good chance that it's a bully, right? It just kind of bosses you around, tell you all the negative things, and that can be tough. But here's the thing. In this webinar, I'm going to give you guys everything that's going to be evidence-based, right? So in other words, everything's been tested, it's been tried, it's been measured, and it's backed by science, okay? It's backed by science that everything that I share with you is going to work. And because of that, I want you guys to know that it's okay to dream again. All right, it's okay to have these big dreams that no one in your family believes in. It's okay to have dreams that your social circles can't believe in. I want you guys to feel like you can walk up to someone and tell them that you can be a millionaire, and I don't want you to bat an eye, okay? It's okay to dream again, guys. So the hard way, what I've been forced to do for the past 5 years is get a master's degree from Clemson, which was freaking expensive. So $50,000, go through so many different coachings, online courses, books. I mean, it's a lot of other stuff that I could have put on here. And my upfront cost was $57,500. and also 5 years of wasted time, right? Now, I'm going to show you guys how to build unshakable confidence even when you're feeling anxious or depressed. And I'm going to do that live in just 47 minutes. All right. I promise. I promise. So, the 3 secrets to building unshakable confidence comes from secret number 1. I'm going to show you how to be confident even when you're feeling anxious. Secret number 2, how to be confident even if you have an effed up past. And then secret number 3, how to overcome your fear of other people's opinion so that you can crush your goals guaranteed. So let's jump into secret number 1, how to be confident even when you're feeling anxious. So back in 2019, I finally became a therapist, right? By far one of the hardest things I've ever done, but by golly, I done it. So I became a therapist, but I was using these old techniques like cognitive behavior therapy, which focuses on changing your thoughts, right? And I tell people that this is kind of like trying to change the weather, right? So it's only a good day if it's sunny. I'm only confident if I'm feeling or if I'm having positive thoughts, right? And as you can see, that gets you kind of stuck, if you will. So when I was running into this and when I was using these techniques, my clients, they just weren't progressing because they couldn't change those negative thoughts, all right? So what I learned was this new secret, right? So in my sexuality class, my professor was speaking about performance anxiety, and he showed us a study that changed everything about how I looked at anxiety. So this is a screen that you want to take a screenshot of. All right. So everyone take a screenshot. You should write down this name, Yerkes-Dotson's law. All right. Because I'm going to go over it. I'm going to explain how you can be confident even when you're feeling anxious. So if you look on this left side, it shows you performance going from weak to strong. And then on the bottom, it shows arousal going from low to high. Okay. So arousal is another word for anxiety. So what this chart is basically saying is that when your anxiety is low, when you're feeling fatigued and sleepy, that is when your performance tends to be low as well, right? But here's the other thing. When your anxiety is high, so as it says here, strong stress, strong anxiety, your performance again tends to be low. But it's when your anxiety is in this optimal state, right? When you have this ability to manage and allow yourself to feel anxious, that's when your anxiety is at its peak, okay? For a lot of us, we're thinking that we'll feel confident when we have no anxiety. Or some of us thinks that, hey, a lot of anxiety or some anxiety is bad. It's this green space that we want to be in. That's when you start to feel that confidence. That's when your performance starts to increase. When I realized that, everything changed. I stopped trying to use positive thinking to get rid of my clients' anxiety. I started helping them to focus on accepting their anxiety and their negative thoughts. And that's when my clients started to build confidence fast, all right, really fast. And that's when I discovered secret number 1, which was the open framework, okay? The open framework, all right? So you guys can write that down as well. So the open framework will teach you how to be confident even when you're feeling anxious, right? So how do I get into that green space and how do I stay in it, right? So step 1, you have to notice your anxious thoughts objectively. And that is a key word. Notice your thoughts without getting so entangled in them. A thought is a thought because it's a thought, right? This is where you develop that self-awareness of what your mind is saying, right? Just being able to see it as if it's a cloud in the sky. That's what we want to do in step 1. Step 2, you want to start to name your anxious thoughts, and I'll give you guys some help with that. So what you're going to do is give your thoughts an identity so that you do not over-identify with them. And like I said, I'm going to give you guys some help with that. So this is a document that I give a lot of my clients where it shows you the unhelpful thinking styles and allows you to put a name to these unhelpful thinking styles so you can easily identify them and not over-identify them with them when they're happening. And I give you guys a great one, which is all or nothing thinking. I think a lot of people fall victim to that, which basically states, if I'm not perfect, then I failed. Either I do it right or not at all. That is something that can rob you of your confidence and cause you to feel anxious because it's either this or that, right? All or nothing type of thinking. Step 3, you have to neutralize your anxious thoughts. And what that means is you have to stop taking your thoughts so literally. We have to remind ourselves that, again, a thought is a thought because it is a thought. And once you do that, once you see that these things are not laws that I have to obey, beliefs that I have to believe, then you'll be able to allow these thoughts to just be what they are, which is, again, just simply thoughts. Now, I want to talk to you guys about someone named Preston that I work with. And we went through the same framework, right? The same framework I'm home with you guys. So, and this was like completely scary how identical me and him were. So Preston was also a high school counselor who was feeling depressed because he didn't love his job. And he didn't love it because fitness was his true passion and he wanted to be a personal trainer. He already had his business and he just wanted to scale it. But the thing was, is he was stuck at 4 clients, even though he was an expert. Even experts, you can know your craft, be really good at your craft, but you can still be stuck and not be successful because of your anxiety. And you have to ask yourself, well, why was that, right? Well, it was because he was so anxious to give a sales pitch that he just didn't do it. He had a fear of rejection. And I taught him the open framework where we notice, we name, and we neutralize his anxious thoughts. And when we did that, his confidence started to increase because he accepted these thoughts. Again, it's all about how you hold them, not whether or not you're having them. So 4 months later, Preston's anxiety went from a level 6. So he was experiencing mild anxiety to a few months later, we decreased it by 83%. So he went from a level 6 to a level 1. And as you see here, he was experiencing minimal anxiety. And when we got him there, he went from 4 clients to 16 clients, which means that he 4X'd his business. And he did all this while raising his prices, right? He did all this while raising his prices because he was no longer afraid to have negative thoughts or anxious thoughts. He just neutralized them. Now, I want to see, are you guys getting what I'm saying here? As someone once said, are you picking up what I'm putting down? All right. So I want to tell you guys about Antonice. All right. So Antonice, she was a manager at a water company here in Miami, and everything went left one day, which she had a bad reaction to medication, but also, man, she had a divorce, right? Divorces, man, they're tough. And because of those 2 things, she started having these panic attacks. So what this did was it started to eat away at her confidence, started to absolutely eat away at it. So she was looking for a change and she applied for a promotion, but she was afraid of rejection, just like Preston, right? So I gave her the same framework. And during the interview, she still was anxious, right? This technique is not to get rid of the anxiety, but to help you to carry it in a better way. And the interviewer said, hey, relax, you got this. All right, so she used the open framework, started using the techniques, and 2 weeks later, she got the promotion. Not only did she get the promotion, she got an increase in salary of 27%, and now she works from home, right? Everything was going well for her. Self-worth skyrocketed. She's now doing kickboxing, which she just told me, which is freaking amazing. And she cut down her panic attacks by 50%. So I asked her, I was like, yo, what did you think about working with me, right? And she said this. She said, I was scared to sell myself. And you gave me the tools to sell myself in my interview with better thinking, right? Very similar to what Andre was saying, right? It's this better way of thinking, if you will. So can you guys see how this can help you to feel confident, even when you're feeling anxious? If you can get into that green spot where Yerkes and Dawson's Law stated, your performance will be at its peak. So I want you guys to imagine what life would be like once you overcome your anxiety, because when you do that, man, you're going to be like Jordan when he finally found Phil Jackson and he finally found the system. So Preston and Antonice, again, they found me as a coach, started to use a system, and their confidence started to increase, right? Their confidence started to increase, right? There's this theme of finding a coach, finding a system, and being able to go from point A to point B because you have these 2 things, all right? And that's what happened with them. So my total investment to learn this, again, took me 5 years, $57,000 later, and you guys just learned it in under 10 minutes. Probably was under 8 minutes, to be honest. And again, I've done all the hard work for you. Like I've done all the research, done all the work, tested it, all this stuff for so many different people. It's a done for you type of platform. So I love Kobe, man. I love Kobe, man. And if you guys saw, man, I got Kobe literally on my wall. He's on my phone case. And in this interview, he talks about how he overcame his fears. And I want you guys to listen to him.
What I try to do is just try to be still and understand that things come and go. Emotions come and go. The important thing is to accept them all, to embrace them all. And then you can choose to do with them what you want versus being controlled by emotion. You know, a lot of times I've seen players, even myself, you know, when I was younger, being consumed by a particular fear. And to the point where you're saying, okay, nah, it's not good to feel fear. I shouldn't be nervous in a situation like that. And it does nothing but grow versus stepping back and saying, yeah, I am nervous about the situation. Yeah, I am fearful about the situation. Well, what am I afraid of? And then you kind of unpack it. And then it gives you the ability to look at it for really what it is, which is nothing more than your imagination running its course, you know.
All right, shout outs to Code, man. So just doing a quick mic check. You guys can still hear me even though that video was played, correct? Let me just get a mic check and just say yes. Now, one thing I want to point out is that, again, Kobe said emotions, they come and they go just like the weather. And it's important to accept them all. This is how Kobe Bryant, one of the greatest of all time, had been able to overcome his fears. And it's funny that he would even admit that he had fears, right? That he had doubt. So again, it's not whether or not you have it, but it's all about how you carry it. And this is coming from Kobe. So you don't have to take my word for it. Really, just say it. Take it from Kobe, man. Just take it from that guy. So, all right, looks like my mic is still working. So awesome. Great, great. So this is secret number one, guys, the open framework, how to be confident even when you're feeling anxious, right? You just got to notice it, name it, and neutralize it. And what you're noticing is you're noticing those thoughts that you're having. You're naming them so that you don't over-identify with them, and then you're neutralizing them. You're no longer taking them literally. You're seeing them for what they are, and that will allow you to be confident even when you're feeling anxious. So secret number two, and let me ask, like, guys, like, are you feeling this? Like, are you guys enjoying this? Do you guys see the power of this framework, right? I'm just checking in with you guys. All right, secret number two, how to be confident no matter how effed up your past is. All right, so for me, business was going good, man. It was going great, right? Business was going great. But here's the thing, man. I was feeling stuck, right? And I'll tell you guys exactly why I was feeling stuck. So I was overpaid, overworked, and it literally went 2 years without giving myself a raise. And we know inflation is a real thing. So one day I had an idea. I said, you know what? Let me double my prices, right? Let me see if someone would pay twice what I'm asking for. So I got my first lead, and they were addicted to gambling. I remember like it was yesterday. They called me up, said, hey, coach, I saw your website. I'm addicted to gambling. Yo, how can you help me? So I explained how I would help them, telling him a lot of these things I'm telling you guys. And I gave him my price. And guess what? Man, he hung up on me, man. And that sent a shot to my heart. And I was like, oh my God, like, am I not worth this much money? Right? Do I need to step back? Do I need to maybe lower my prices? Like, I started having all these thoughts, and my confidence started to almost like dwindle, if you will. So here's the thing. It wasn't the first time that I missed a shot. Now, this is me. Yes, this is me. As you guys can see, there's a theme. I love basketball. So in middle school, I played basketball, absolutely loved it. But one day we were playing against our middle school rivals, and the gym was absolutely packed. It was going crazy. Man, I was excited. I was also anxious at the same time because this was the most people we ever had in the gym, and this was the biggest crowd I played in front of at that time. And I remember our point guard came down the court. There's about 10 seconds left. We were down by a point, and he takes a three-point shot and he misses. I'm like, oh, damn, we're going to lose this game. But the ball comes straight to me, right? I get the rebound, and I'm literally under the basket by myself, and I shoot it, and then I airballed it. I literally airballed a layup. And man, if you never heard a gym go, in unison, man, you don't know what pain is. I got to tell you, it was tough. It was really hard. I lost my starting position that day. And when I went to school the next day, I didn't think anything of it. But man, I had so many kids coming at me saying, yo, you missed that shot, man. You cost us the game. You suck. You're trash. That's a lot for someone in middle school, man. And you start to develop that into your identity. You start to believe these things, right? And I started to believe it so much that it actually led into my high school career and also into my professional career, right? I just couldn't shake this feeling. I just couldn't shake this thought. Now, I had to ask myself, like, all right, what am I going to do, right? And here's what I used to do when I was failing, right? Whenever I missed a shot or something like that, I would just give up, repeat affirmations, make up excuses, lie to myself with positivity, or even try to suppress it. But then something changed one day. One day I had a friend ask me, where does my lack of confidence come from? And that's where I instantly went back to basketball. I instantly went back to that shot. And because I went back to that shot, which was 2 decades ago, I had to ask myself, how long do I plan on holding on to that story, right? How long do I plan on holding on to this belief of who I was, right? And that's when I realized it was time for me to let go. And that's when I discovered secret number 2, a new way to being confident, a new way to overcome your effed up past, which is the art of letting go. So to do this, Step number one, you have to acknowledge your past. So what does that mean? Well, first off, the now, it will keep you stuck, right? Acknowledge that, hey, you missed that shot, you messed up. Maybe there's some trauma back in your past. You have to acknowledge it, right? Don't act like it didn't exist, right? The now will keep you stuck. Also, facing your past is the strongest thing you can do. And this is the first step to moving forward. It's by acknowledging what has taken place. Step number two, you have to allow it, meaning you have to allow your past to be your past. You do not have to love your past, but you must allow it to be a part of your story. When you allow your past to be your past, you allow yourself to feel pain, but you don't go into suffering. Suffering is something that is more intense than pain, and it's something that's long lasting. Pain is something that we all experience, but suffering is an option, it's a choice, it's something that you do not have to experience. And by allowing yourself to feel pain, you avoid suffering. It's kind of like allowing yourself to feel the pain of going to the gym to avoid the suffering of diabetes, obesity, cancer, or some of these other ailments, if you will. And also, guys, this allows yourself to be human. Step number three is to accommodate. So create space for your uncomfortable thoughts and feelings. Your thoughts and feelings and emotions, they come and they go, right? They're not always going to be there, just like the weather. Also, be willing to feel discomfort so that you can put more energy to your goals. Stop fighting things that you don't have to fight, right? Again, the supreme art of war is to subdue your enemy without fighting. And you do that by accommodating your feelings. And then step number four, you have to appreciate it. Ask yourself, what can you take away from this experience? For me, what can I take away from that experience? Well, to be honest, I took away that, man, my past or any given moment does not have to define me for the future. And also I realized if I go back, I would tell myself, I'll tell my younger self, hey, let's get back in the gym. Let's practice those layups, right? This does not have to be your future, right? This is a moment. It's not your life. It's not your future, if you will. Also, ask yourself, how can this feeling motivate you? And then also, what does this pain say that you value? What does this pain say that you care about, right? That's what you get from being able to appreciate some of the tough things that you experience. So after letting go, I got on my next sales call, and guess what, guys? I got rejected again. Like, this is not play. This is not make believe or anything like that. Like, yeah, I got rejected again, even though I figured out, like, hey, I need to let this stuff go. But it didn't define me. And then I started to close clients, and I actually went on to close my next 3 high ticket clients right after that. All right. So I want to talk to you guys about this guy named Will. So Will, he was a guy that I worked with, very nice guy, man. I really appreciate him. So he was a product manager for a small tech startup in Miami. And he was working 60 plus hours and making $65,000 a year, right? It's kind of tough, especially again, living here in Miami, you're gonna need a little bit more, right? Just to feel a little bit more comfortable, if you will. So it was really hard for him. So he was feeling stressed and he was feeling overwhelmed. So he wanted to quit his job, but here's the thing. He struggled with people pleasing, being assertive, believing in his skill set, self-doubt, right? He started to really struggle with these things. And it's all because growing up, his parents were very controlling, right? Very controlling. And here's the thing, he would basically tell me hell would break loose if he ever disagreed with him. And what that did was it created a trauma response known as fawn and comply. So in other words, people pleasing, right? To avoid the hell, we will appease people so that we can feel good. So we don't have to go through all that hell and whatnot, if you will. So Will learn the art of letting go. I taught him the same framework. And he quit his job even though he felt guilty, which was tough for him, right? Because he didn't want to let the owner down, but he had to do what was right for him. He had to let go of that people pleasing. And now he's the lead product manager for the largest sports betting company here in Florida. All right. So he's the lead product manager for the largest sports betting company here in Florida. All right. But here's the thing, it gets better, right? He ended up doubling his salary, right? But not only did he double his salary, he got stock options, regular bonuses, all while working less. And that one was big for him because he was dog tired, man. It started to really eat away at him. And all of this was because he decided to let go of his past. He didn't let those stories of having to do what other people tell him to be his story, all right? So he learned how to let go of that stuff. Now, I love asking people that I work with, what stuck out about me, right? Like, what was it that I did, I said, or whatever that made things different? And what he said was, hey, I worked with other therapists, and the biggest difference was that you had a structure and a framework to follow. Other therapists were reactionary, but you had a playbook I could use moving forward with anything, right? With anything, all right? Now, I want to talk to you guys about Mia. So Mia, she was a secretary specialist, and she was stuck in an abusive relationship. And that's putting it mildly, guys. Yeah, that really is. Like, she almost lost her life in this abusive relationship. And this all led to her feeling socially anxious, depressed, and having low self-confidence, as you can imagine. And she found me online, just like a lot of you guys have found me online, right? She learned again the art of letting go. And her depression, it went from being a 21, so that is severe depression. So it's on a scale of 1 to 24. All right. And 21 showed that she was having severe depression. So it went from a score of 21, we got it down to an 8, right? So her feeling mildly depressed. And you can kind of see over here the ranges, if you will. So she went from feeling mild depression to feeling minimal depression, having a score of 0. So 100% decrease in how she was feeling. All right. So I asked Mia the same thing, like, tell me, like, what was it about us working together? How do you feel? All that stuff. She said, I was depressed and had a lot of anxiety. I was struggling with stuff from the past. I would always think something bad would happen if I went out. But now I'm more comfortable, right? More comfortable doing stuff by myself. And my confidence went from a 2 out of 10 to a 9 out of 10. All right. So guys, you see where I'm going with this? You see how this can help you, right? So I'm gonna give you guys one more, right? So I worked with Sonia. Sonia was lovely, man. She's very lovely. So she worked in corporate America as a CFO, and she was a high performer all her life, but she struggled with crippling anxiety. And the reason why is because she also had these past traumas, okay? And I don't want to go too much into detail, but again, just some very abusive stuff went on in her life. And her story ended up being, I need to work hard in order to be worthy, okay? I need to work hard in order to be worthy. And she also learned the art of letting go framework, where we acknowledge her past, we allowed her to be a part of it, accommodated it, and appreciated it. And I asked her, what is life like now that you learned these steps? And she said, I don't take my thoughts as seriously as I used to, which means I'm more productive with my day. She realized that you can have these thoughts or you can have these feelings, but they don't have to take over my life. Now, I got a little curious and I asked her more, right? And she told me, well, what's the difference between this therapy and other therapies that she did in the past? And she said, I did cognitive behavior therapy for 7 years, and I've progressed more in 1 year with acceptance therapy than cognitive behavior therapy, right? More in 1 year than the past 7 years, right? I'll take that deal any day, right? So Will, Mia, Sonia, they found me as a coach. They implemented the system and their confidence increased, right? It's all about having a coach. It's all about having a system. So to ask yourself, like, will this work for me? Well, I've helped those that have been abused, traumatized, addicted, suffered from anxiety, went through grief, had suicidal thoughts, and felt depressed, and it's worked for all of them, okay? So who here thinks acceptance therapy is awesome? Right? If you think it's awesome, definitely comment in the chat just so that I know, right? Because here's the thing, you can't do this with any other framework, right? It's all about how you carry these things, not whether or not these things happen to you. That's where the strength lies. That's the super power from this framework, if you will. So this was secret number 2 that I just taught you, the art of letting go, how to be confident no matter how effed up your past is. So the final secret, secret number 3, I'm so glad you guys made it this far, man. This is awesome. So secret number 3, how to overcome your fear of people's opinions so that you can crush your goals, guaranteed, right? Like how do you do that, right? Well, I'm gonna show you. So back on December 22nd, 2019, I launched my podcast, the Players Coach Podcast, right? And here's the thing, I struggled with it, right? I really did struggle. Like I would do 10 episodes and I'll go like 6 months without doing another episode, right? Like I just wasn't being consistent with it. So like I said, I went months without recording. I wasn't good at public speaking. And the reason why was because, man, I was the introvert king. Like, look at me, man. I'm smiling, man. And, not showing my teeth. And actually, there's a reason why. Like, the reason why is because, man, I had crooked teeth growing up, man. And kids, they were mean. They used to tease me all the time. One kid used to say, man, it looked like you was eating rocks for breakfast. and that's because, my teeth were jacked up, man. My teeth were jacked up, man. And that's why I was smiling without showing my teeth here. So, man, that created something in me, man. It made me to be afraid to be judged, man. Like, seriously, I was afraid, man. Very nervous. And I kind of became a shell of myself. And one day, I read this quote by Dr. Stephen Hayes, and he said that the key to living a meaningful life is to find your core values and then to act on them, even in the presence of fear and pain. I'm like, oh, okay. So it started to make sense to me. So I was focused on my fear and not my values, because my value is helping entrepreneurs and professionals build their confidence using acceptance therapy. That's my value. And that led me to secret number 3, which is the values investing system. Okay. So step number 1 of this system is to first ground yourself. It's not about your thoughts, which you see on the left, and it's not about your feelings, which you see on the right. There's a person that's feeling these things, that's thinking these things. And we want to be able to ground ourselves in that person. Don't ground yourself in what you think, because those things change. Don't ground yourself in how you feel, because those things change. Trust me, you're going to wake up and you're not going to feel like speaking in front of people. You're going to wake up and not feel like, let's say, going to the gym. You're not going to wake up feeling like doing anything. But we're not grounding ourselves in how we feel or how we think. We're grounding ourselves in us, this sense of self, this self-concept that we have. So that's step number 1. Step number 2, you got to identify the 4 domains of life. So the first domain is career and education. Number 2 is relationships. Number 3 is personal growth and personal health. And then number 4 is leisure time, right? Got to have some play time. And then step number 3, you have to identify your values in each of those domains, and it will serve as your roadmap for your life. And then step number 4, you have to take small steps towards your values. And the way you do that is using a 2-step framework where you ask yourself, what actions can I take towards this value within 24 hours? And then on a scale of 1 to 10, what actions have a probability of at least a 7? Those are the 2 questions that you need to ask yourself to help you to take action towards these values. And this leads us to the word consistency over intensity, which is so big, so big. Now, here's something that I didn't know. To be in the top 1% of podcasters, you only need to create 21 episodes. And that says a lot, because a lot of people quit. Now, here's the thing. I'm currently on episode 143, right? So I was able to develop that consistency, but also I was able to be confident in myself, no matter what I thought other people thought of me. Now, here are some of the results, right? And I'll go through these really quickly. So Be the System, she said, this was such a great and helpful video that I'm sure a lot of entrepreneurs can relate to. I've been reframing how I tell the story of one of my biggest founder failures, and it's taken me about 2 years to finally feel like I'm finally getting past it. Keep sharing your story, right? We have this another comment by, I think it's B. Yates. Another impactful video. Thank you for embracing pressure, AKA doing the hard stuff, to show up and encourage and inspire and provide the needed tools for others. And then we have Rayouf, who said, I really admire your approach to debunking myths about therapy and promoting its transformative benefits. I'm getting tongue-tied. And then Kwani said, everyone should listen to this podcast. She said, I needed this morning. I'm in my feelings today, but I have the tools to know how to get over it. I know my mind lies and how to combat that. And literally, I got this one like 2 days ago. So what's interesting about this one is you look at the top underneath comments, it says the title of the podcast, which was 5 lessons I learned after doing 100 podcasts, right? These are the 5 lessons. And this person named AK Lexi said, I'm preparing to start a podcast, and this was exactly what I wanted to hear. Added it to my favorites so I can revisit it when I need the inspiration. Thank you, right? It's like, man, dude, I'm inspiring all these people, and I'm sitting here thinking, man, what if people don't like me? And when I gave up on that fear and focused on my values, man, that's when things really took off. So I want to ask, are you guys getting what I'm saying? Are you guys getting how powerful this value system is? It's all about the values, not about your fear, right? If so, let me know in the comments, man. So I was afraid of being judged by other people. I shifted that focus to my values. I got consistent with my podcast and started helping entrepreneurs and professionals increase their confidence using acceptance therapy techniques. Oh, excuse me. So do you guys think that you can use this system? Well, I think you can, right? I'm laying this out as simple as possible. So I do believe you guys think that you can use this system. Now I'm gonna talk to you guys about Chelsea. All right, so Chelsea, I love working with her. She worked at a nail salon, but she wasn't happy because she wanted to start her own business, just like so many of us want to do. And she decided to go all in, right? There's that word again, all in, and open her own salon. But here's the thing. Her business was struggling because she didn't feel confident in her performance. She started to self-sabotage by not asking for referrals. And it's like, yo, like I need referrals to make my business work, don't I? Like, why am I not asking for referrals? Well, for her, she had a fear of what her friends, what her family members would think, right? What if she messed up her nails, right? What if she didn't do things just right? Like she had that fear. And she was barely keeping enough money, making enough money to keep her salon open, right? So I taught her the values investing system. And I asked her this question. I said, what do you want women to feel after you do their nails, right? Like, what do you want? And she said one word, empowered, right? I was like, ooh, like that kind of gives me chills. She says she wants to feel empowered. And if you guys have ever gotten a haircut, you know what that feels like, right? When you get your hair done or, you get a shape up or something like that, like it feels good. You feel empowered, you feel good about yourself, right? So she focused on her values and less on other people's opinions. And she came back to our session and simply said, Coach, it worked, right? She was like, yo, I did some of my best nails that day. And she felt really good about her performance. And then 3 months later for her, she was flooded with clients while raising her prices, guys. So do you see how this could help for you, right? I think you guys could use this system. It's pretty simple. I laid it out in 4 easy steps, right? Like it's not that hard. Now, I want to talk to you guys about Gabby. All right. So Gabby, she was a medical student, top of her class, right? Top of her class. I think she was valedictorian, if you will. And she suffered from imposter syndrome. And I asked her the same question, what are her values? And she said responsibility. So one day she was working in the clinic and she noticed that her patient had something strange in her eye, right? So she's an eye doctor and she doubted her intuition for a moment, but she focused on that value, the value of responsibility to the patient. So what she ended up doing was she ran some additional tests and found out that her intuition was correct because again, it was a rare condition that she didn't think it was quite it, but she still ran the additional tests just to check. And again, her intuition was correct and she ended up preventing a stroke, which was the long-term effects of that eye condition that the client had. And now she works in private practice. She graduated from medical school. She's doing great, guys. She's doing great. So I asked Gabby, just like I asked everybody else, yeah, what worked, right? Like, tell me about your experience. And she said she noticed a huge change in her confidence. Even one of her friends said, wow, I noticed a huge change in you and your ability to just be yourself and to trust yourself, right? Guys, it works, man. It works, and I have so many other case studies like this, to be honest. So Chelsea and Gabby, they found me as a coach, they implemented the system, and their confidence rose. So building your confidence used to be hard, guys, but it honestly doesn't have to be anymore because I've done all the hard work for you. So the 3 secrets that we just went over, right? And I got it right at an hour. The 3 secrets of building confidence, right? Unshakable confidence is secret number 1, the open framework. So how to be confident even when you're feeling anxious. Secret number 2, the art of letting go framework, how to be confident no matter how effed up your past is. And then secret number 3, the values investing system, how to overcome your fear of others' opinions so that you can crush your goals. Now, if you use acceptance therapy and was able to be confident even when you felt anxious, be confident no matter how effed up your past was, or be confident and learn how to overcome your fear of what others think of you, do you think you perform better in your business? Do you think you perform better in your profession, right? Do you think you'd be able to overcome your anxiety and your depression? Do you think you'd have unshakable confidence, right? These are the questions I want to ask you. So let me ask you this one final question, right? So I went through a lot of stuff, right? I got it all in under an hour, which was the goal. And it's like, all right, coach, man, I feel great. You got me set, right? But it may have felt like a lot, right? You may have felt like this little girl with the fire hydrant was turned on and she's trying to get all the little droplets, right? It's a lot. I'll admit, I want to be respectful of your time. So I wanted to make sure I gave you guys all this information, but I want to know if it's okay if I spend a little time making you an offer, right? I want to see if it's okay if I spend a little time giving you guys an opportunity to be able to take this information and apply it, right? And have someone guide you as you're applying it, right? Because here's the thing, like I said, a coach and a system are the 2 things you need to guarantee your results. Right now, you may be like Jordan, killing the league, but you may feel like there's another level, right? And I want to be able to give you guys that opportunity. So what I want to talk to you guys about real quickly is this mental performance club. All right. So the mental performance club, like what is it, right? The mental performance club is a membership where I take what I do in individual therapy and I teach you guys on the membership level. I give you guys all the tools you need and I walk you through it. So that way you'll be able to have the confidence that you're looking for without having to guess how to build the confidence. Is this the right techniques? Whatever the case it may be. Now, what you're going to get with this mental performance club, right? Like what's actually inside of it? Well, first, you're going to get all 6 phases of acceptance therapy. So phase 1, we're going to spend time identifying your values and your goals so that you have your roadmap. Phase 2, I'm going to give you guys a new way to overcome your thoughts. So that way, even if you have, the most hideous, negative, scariest, hairiest thoughts, you have a way to overcome it. Phase 3 is all about learning how to take action and how to build better habits. Phase 4 is understanding the power of now. So it's all about that mindfulness piece, right? Like, how do I be present and not be so future focused that it starts to cause my anxiety? And in phase 5, we'll learn how to rebuild that relationship with your true self. How do I improve that self-concept so I don't over-identify with the thoughts, the feelings in the past, right? And then phase 6, the final phase, I'm gonna teach you guys how to choose acceptance rather than avoidance. How do I allow myself to feel anxious so that I can still be great at what I want to do, right? You're gonna get all 6 of these phases in the mental performance club. So what you'll be able to do is build your confidence without the guesswork, because as I always say, these strategies, they're evidence-based, right? You'll be able to stop wasting, precious potential, because you have a system and not random tactics. So I created a mental performance club for one reason and one reason only, and it's to help entrepreneurs and professionals that build their confidence using acceptance therapy. And right now, your biggest problem is that finding a therapist who has the techniques is hard, because a lot of therapists come to you with just more questions, right? Like, how does this make you feel, right? Like, that's typically what therapists do. You need a therapist that's going to give you ironclad techniques, and that's what you're going to get in this membership. Second thing that you're facing right now is finding the time to invest in your mental health. This platform is accessible through your phone. It's going to be 24/7 access, right? So around the clock, whether it's 3 a.m. or 3 p.m., you're going to have time to invest in your mental health. And also, you're not going to feel misunderstood, because there's going to be a community of like-minded people that's going to be here to support you. So I asked myself this one question I had to ask. I said, there has to be an easier way, right? There has to be an easier way for people to build their confidence or to improve their mental health, right? And that's why I had this epiphany, and that's why I created this mental performance club. Because here's the thing, why does therapy have to be the only place where you can improve your confidence, right? And that's, like I said, that's why I created the mental performance club. And you have 24/7 access to the trainings that will build your confidence, and a community of like-minded individuals so that you don't feel judged. And everything in here is battle tested with systems that are guaranteed to give you results. So I want you guys to meet Brian real quick. So Brian was an underpaid cybersecurity analyst. Like, there's a theme here, right? Like, people being underpaid. So Brian, underpaid cybersecurity analyst, and he was supporting his fiance, who was in law school at the time, which I didn't know much later on when we were working together. So because he didn't like his job and he didn't want to quit, he was self-sabotage so he wouldn't have to quit, but rather be fired. He learned acceptance therapy, and he quit his job with the fear and with the guilt, right? Because he felt like he was letting the CEO down as well. And with his new job, they doubled his salary, right? And it's because he decided to choose himself first, right? He had to let go of some of those past beliefs, those negative things that his mom was telling him. He had to let them go. Now, I want you guys to meet Joe. So Joe was actually a police officer, and he struggled with panic attacks. And because of that, he would self-isolate. And after learning acceptance therapy, his anxiety went from a score of 19, right? So his experiencing severe anxiety to a score of 1, which meant that he had a 95% decrease in his anxiety, right? All of that just from using these systems. This is what Joe had to say afterwards. He said, I live a life the way I want to, without fear, or without the high levels of fear of anxiety from before. You've given me many tools and many techniques and tools to manage my anxiety. All right, I want you guys to meet Ryan. So Ryan is a high school basketball coach, wanted financial freedom, and he was doing Forex trading. Yes, Forex trading is a real thing. And he was losing thousands of dollars a month because of his self-doubt. He used to tell me, Coach, I'm like emotionally trading. I'm trading as if this is my last dollar. And it would really, cause him to lose a lot of money. So for him, after learning acceptance therapy, he ended up making $5,000 in 2 weeks using this system. So this is what Ryan said. He said, I recognize emotions for what they are. You've given me several strategies to implement every day to stay in control of my emotions and separate my thoughts from my actions. It's helped me professionally, but also personally as well. So again, who does this work for? It works for seasonal entrepreneurs, new entrepreneurs, working professionals, coaches, consultants, speakers, investors, and anyone looking to improve their confidence but feel stuck due to their anxiety or their depression. So you may say, all right, coach, this sounds good, but I don't have the discipline to keep up with this, or I don't have the motivation to keep up with this. Well, don't worry, guys. I got you. Trust me, I got you. That's why I created this bonus called live coaching calls. And what I'm basically going to do is every month, I'm going to do a live coaching call just like this. When we'll walk you through the steps of the framework to make sure that you get them and you lock them in so that you don't have any more guessing or you don't feel motivated to do this stuff, right? That's what I'm going to do for you guys through these live coaching calls. So what you're going to get is the Mental Performance Club, which is worth $5,997, monthly coaching calls, which is worth $3,000, total value $8,997. Also, you're gonna get the Ultimate Goal Crusher course when you get inside the club. This is gonna be a bonus I'm gonna give you, and with this, you'll learn 5 performance enhancing strategies to help you crush any goal. You're also gonna learn what the top 10% is doing that you're not doing when it comes to reaching your goals. And you're also going to learn how to create balance without sacrificing your goals and so much more. So you'll be able to get rid of procrastination, which is a real thing, feeling overwhelmed, lack of clarity, self-doubt, bad planning habits, and your fear of failure, all by following this course. And like I always tell people, you'll never have to struggle with accomplishing your goals again because you're going to have a system, right? Which means that you're going to save time and money from feeling stuck. And don't worry, guys, everything again is evidence-based strategies only. So what this means is that this course is proven. So even if you're the laziest person in the world, hey, I will personally coach you through the goal setting process. So what you're going to get is the Mental Performance Club, monthly coaching calls, and the Ultimate Goal Crusher course as a bonus. All of this for $9,394. The next thing you're going to get is the art and science of building motivation. Like who doesn't want motivation, right? Like everyone needs it. So I'm going to teach you what to do when your motivation is low. So this product took me 5 months to study and to create, but you'll learn how to build your motivation in less than an hour. So everything inside of this will be the secret formulas to building motivation, 2 basic sources of motivation so that you can harness their power, and 5, that's right, 5 foolproof strategies for building motivation. And again, a lot more. So why would this be easy for you? Well, honestly, you only need 1 strategy to build your motivation. And again, I'm giving you 5. So what you're going to get again is the Mental Performance Club, the monthly coaching calls, the Ultimate Goal Crusher course, and the art and science of building motivation. You're going to get all this when you join the club. And the value of this is $9,791. So the next thing you're going to get is the Atomic Habits Hand Guide. I'm going to give you guys 30 techniques guaranteed to help you to build your habits without depending on willpower. So what that means is you can avoid 2 months of reading this book. I was just trying to remember the techniques, paying for another book to sit on your bookshelf, right? And you can start building your habits today, and it'll only take you 5 minutes, right? It'll only take you 5 minutes because it's a 2-page document, right? It's real quick. So what you're going to get is the Mental Performance Club, the monthly coaching calls, the Ultimate Goal Crusher course, the art and science of building motivation, the Atomic Habits Hand Guide. All of this, the value is $9,888. So the next thing you're going to get is a time management map. So Brian Tracy, who is one of the greatest personal development coaches of all time, he wrote a book called Eat That Frog, 21 Great Ways to Stop Procrastinating and Get More Done in Less Time. He said that for every minute you spend planning, you save 7 minutes in execution. And I've wasted personally years not planning, and that doesn't have to be you. That's what this time management map is for. It's to help you to plan out your day so that you can be effective with how you spend your time. And the best part about this tool is that it only takes you 5 minutes to use. So what you're going to get is the Mental Performance Club, the monthly coaching calls, the Ultimate Goal Crusher course, the art and science of building motivation, the Atomic Habits Hand Guide, the time management map. All of this value $9,985. So the next thing you're gonna get, isn't this good, guys? I should stop. Like, isn't this good? Let me go back, right? Like, this is a solid list of things that you're gonna get, right? Great bonuses. I mean, I feel like it's a lot of value, right? So I'm gonna just pause and like let you guys kind of catch your breath, like because I'm throwing a lot at you. So the next thing you're gonna get is actually a personal favorite of mine, and it's King Solomon's success scriptures, 21 Bible verses to help you find hope and success even during your darkest days. So King Solomon, right? Like, who is this guy, right? Well, he's known as a man after God's own heart, and God appeared to him in his dream and offered to give him anything that he wanted. And he said, wisdom, right? That's what King Solomon's response was. And this was God's response. He said, since you have asked for this and not for long life or wealth for yourself, nor have you asked for the death of your enemies, but for discernment and administering justice, I will do what you have asked. I will give you a wise and discerning heart so that you will never, or so that there will never have been anyone like you, nor will there ever be. So King Solomon is known as the wisest person in the Bible. He wrote Proverbs, Ecclesiastics, and the Songs of Solomon. And his net worth today would be $2 trillion, which is 10 times that of Jeff Bezos. So wouldn't having his wisdom be helpful for your confidence? I think so. So after reading 100 Bible verses, I found the perfect verses for entrepreneurs and professionals struggling with building their confidence, overcoming their anxiety, and defeating their depression. And the best part about this is an easy to read 2-pager that you can access from your phone. Now you may ask, like, is this worth it to me, right? Like, is this valuable? Well, Proverbs 8 and 11, King Solomon said, for wisdom is more precious than rubies, and nothing you desire can compare with her. So I would say, yes, this is something that's very valuable. So what you're going to get is the Mental Performance Club, the monthly coaching calls, the Ultimate Goal Crusher course, the Art and Science of Building Motivation, the Atomic Habits Hand Guide, the Time Management Map, King Solomon's Success Scriptures, all for $10,132. Next, you're going to get the morning ritual. So you're going to discover how to build a morning routine for increased productivity, energy, and happiness. Now, why is this important? Well, have you ever struggled with getting out of bed? Do you wake up feeling depressed, right? I've definitely been there. Do you get overwhelmed with your thoughts? I've been there as well, especially working at my old job. Or do you struggle with being productive in the morning? If so, this ebook was created to solve those concerns for you. And what this means is that you'll become more productive. You look forward to your day. You'll finally feel happy in the morning. And all of this is just a quick, simple read, right? And they have simple strategies. I don't want you guys to overthink it with this, right? Real simple, real simple. So what you're going to get is the Mental Performance Club, monthly coaching calls, the Ultimate Goal Crusher course, the Art and Science of Building Motivation, Atomic Habits Hand Guide, Time Management Map, King Solomon's Success Scriptures, and the Morning Ritual ebook, all for $10,179. You're also going to get the Grief Recovery Roadmap. And I gave this to Kim. So Kim, she worked for the FBI. Unfortunately, her parents died during COVID, and she was dealing with a lot of grief and a lot of anger. And she learned this grief recovery roadmap and had this to say. So after working with Coach Wells, I must admit that I'm in a better headspace and have improved tremendously with my anger and grief. Coach Wells is a God-sent angel to help many people like myself and others to successfully accomplish the goals of seeking mental health therapy to become better individuals and work on any past issues or traumas. So this guide, it will help you to find yourself so that you can build your life back again. It'll help you in your darkest times, even when you feel like giving up, or even find a real path to healing so that you don't fall back into that black hole. So what you're going to get is the Mental Performance Club, the monthly coaching calls, the Ultimate Growth Culture course, the Art and Science of Building Motivation, Atomic Habits Hand Guide, the Time Management Map, King Solomon's Success Scriptures, the Morning Ritual ebook, the Grief Recovery Roadmap, all for $10,276. Next, you're going to get the Addictions Annihilator package. And this is a bundle of secret resources to help you overcome any addiction, guaranteed. So why did I create this one, right? This is a unique one. Well, I saw a theme of entrepreneurs and professionals struggling with addictions, and it would crush their confidence, their productivity, their self-worth, their finances, and definitely their happiness. And here's the thing, you won't find anything like this. And the reason, the true reason is because, one, I spent hours of research to find, again, the best podcasts, books, online and in-person communities, apps, YouTube videos, websites. all this stuff. But also there's communities that I'm a part of that you can only be a part of if you're a licensed therapist. And I've gone into these communities and asked, what are the best books, podcasts, apps that you guys use for your clients? And I saw a theme and I grabbed all those resources and I put them into this one document. So it's very valuable. It's very unique is what I'm trying to say. So the best part is that, again, as I just said, I've consulted with some of the best therapists and psychiatrists for these resources. So what that means, you'll be able to stop numbing yourself so that you can move forward with your life, reconnect with loved ones that your addictions has cost you. You can become productive again because your addictions is not costing you hours of your day. You'll feel better about yourself by increasing your self-worth and by eliminating shame. And I want you guys to meet Iman. Iman, man, great guy, man. Real great guy. I really love working with him. He works in nonprofits to improve education for minorities. And he grew up in an abusive home. And because of that, he developed self-worth with low self-worth, which led to addictions. And after using these strategies, he said, I was able to affirm myself and let go of some deep stuff from my past, be myself as a human. I stopped feeling less than and no more shame. 1 year clean is still going. It will have effects on my future generations. So even if you're not going through addictions yourself, right? Because maybe this isn't for you. You know someone who is, which means this would be a great gift to give to them, all right? And I can attest to this one. All right, so even if you don't know, even if you're not going through addictions, you know someone that is, and this would be a great gift for them. So what you're going to get is the Mental Performance Club, the monthly coaching calls, the Ultimate Goal Crusher course, the Art and Science of Building Motivation webinar, the Atomic Habits Hand Guide, Time Management Map, King Solomon's Success Scriptures, the Morning Ritual ebook, the Grief Recovery Roadmap, and the Addictions Annihilator package, all for $10,873. So here's the last thing, right? Last thing you guys are going to get is the open office hours, right? So why did I create this one? Well, I created this because I wanted to give you guys an opportunity just to come in with any topics that you have, right? Anything that you have that you want to discuss, I want to give you guys an open format, and I will literally rattle off as much information as I can, right? So what that means is that you're going to get increased accountability with your goals, unlimited questions answered, hands-on guidance, and that also means no more getting stuck. And it's again, because I'm gonna be right there holding your hand. So what you're gonna get is the Mental Performance Club, the monthly coaching calls, the Ultimate Goal Crusher course, the Art and Science of Building Motivation webinar, the Atomic Habits Hand Guide, the Time Management Map, King Solomon's Success Scriptures, the Morning Ritual ebook, the Grief and Recovery Roadmap, the Addictions Annihilator package, and the open office hours, all for a grand total of $13,373 per year. Now, if all this did was to help you to finally feel confident, even when you're feeling anxious, would it be worth it? Or if all this did was help you to overcome your effed up past so that you can create a better future, would it be worth it? Or if all it did was gave you the ability to perform better in your business or career without worrying about being judged, would it be worth it? So I had two choices when creating this, right? The first option, make this offer really cheap and attract lazy members who you wouldn't be able to grow with. And the second option, which requires a little higher investment, but guarantees your success by only attracting high-level members that you will be able to grow with, right? Those are my two options. So what is getting your confidence back worth to you? To finally defeat your anxiety and depression, 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, like what is it worth it to you, right? How much would you pay to get the success and happiness that you're looking for? So the value of this membership is $13,373 per year. Would you make this investment? Again, if all it did was help you to Forex your business like Preston, or make $10,000 a day like Andre, or make $5,000 in only 2 weeks like Ryan, or increase your prices like Chelsea did, increase your salary by 30% like Anthony's, or double your salary like Will and Brian, or defeat your anxiety like Joe, or helps you to beat your addictions like Iman, or overcome your grief like Kim? Would it be worth it to you if that's all it did? Well, this is why you can see it's a good deal at $13,373 per year. And generally for the public, this is going for $2,997 per year. That's generally what I sell it for. But because you're special and you made it this far to the webinar, you can get started now with just $997 per year. All right. That's all it takes. And there's a link right there for you guys. Right. As a matter of fact, I'll go ahead and drop this into the chat as well. Okay. I may have to drop this in later, but there's the link. Let me see if I can copy it. I may have to be able to copy it later, but that's the link. If you Google it just like that, you'll be able to access it. Okay, I'm gonna copy it, throw it in the link here. Boom. All right, so it's in the chat. All right. So again, the Mental Performance Club, you're going to get 12 months of the Mental Performance Club, which is normally $2,997. You're going to get it only for $997 per year. So it's easy to join. Again, I sent you guys the link. You can also type that into your browser, but again, it is in the chat. And what it's going to do is going to take you to this contact form. You're going to just enter your information here. And then you're going to enter your billing information. And actually, as you guys can see above the red circle, I went ahead and gave you guys a discount. So you see it's crossed out. It's giving you guys the new rate, if you will, for joining this webinar. So once you do those two things, you'll then just hit submit and you guys are good. Now, here's the thing. You guys have two choices, right? I had two choices. Now you guys have two choices. The first choice is to do nothing, not take this leap of faith, even though it's 100% risk-free, right? The second choice, you could pony up this small investment today compared to all the value you'll get in return and just give it a shot, right? Just give it a shot. Let's see what it does, right? And the reason why it's 100% free or 100% risk-free is because of the 7-day finger licking guarantee, right? Like what's that, right? What's the 7-day finger licking guarantee? Well, if you sign up today, and if you don't like it for any reason, I don't care if it's the 6th day, right? At the 23rd hour, just let me know and I'll give you your money back. I'll give you all your money back. But here's the thing. If you cancel, you also get to keep the Ultimate Goal Crusher course, the Art and Science of Building Motivation, Atomic Habits and Guide, the Time Management Map, King Solomon's Success Scriptures, the Morning Ritual ebook, the Grief Recovery Roadmap, and the Addictions Annihilator package. Total value, $1,376. You get to keep all of this free just for test driving, right? So again, even on the 6th day. And here's one more thing, guys, right? Like, why is it called the 7-day finger licking guarantee? Well, if you don't like it, I'll buy you lunch. And I'm not joking. I'll ask you guys in an email, text, however it is, I'll get in contact with you and ask you to send me your Cash App, your Zelle, or whatever you prefer. And I will literally send you money to buy you lunch for that day. So the 7-day finger licking guarantee gives you all these bonuses, even if you cancel. Plus, you'll get lunch on me. Total value $1,376 plus a free lunch, right? And all of this is free just for test driving. So the real question is it worth a few minutes of your time to invest in yourself? And even if the Mental Performance Club does only half of what I talked about today, it will pay for itself. So some of you may be thinking, well, coach, man, I think I can do this on my own, right? Well, I want to give you guys some research, right? So according to the University of California, they actually gave the percentage that someone is likely to accomplish a goal. And on the first chart where it says 33% in red, if your goals are unwritten, you have a 33% chance of accomplishing them. If your goals are written, you have a 43% chance. If your goals are written with action steps, you have a 64% chance. But if your goals are written with action steps and is shared with a coach, you have a 76% chance of accomplishing your goals, right? So more than double, right? More than double. Do you want to take that chance of not accomplishing your goals, right? By not having a coach, right? No matter what your goal is, as I showed you with Jordan, he had a coach and he had a system, right? And that helped him to become the guy that he is today. So some of you may be thinking, well, man, coach, that's a lot of money. I can't afford it. Well, how do you typically handle your anxiety and depression, right? How are you handling it today? Well, for a lot of people, they say, man, I just need a vacation, right? I'm gonna run away from my anxiety and my depression. And here's the thing, 82% of Americans take at least one vacation per year, according to the Vacationeer. And this is the estimated total cost of an average 3-day trip, right? So you have your transportation, your flights, your hotel, your meals, your rental car, your entertainment, right? You have all this stuff. And the total cost of that is anywhere from $1,300 to about $1,500. Now, here's the thing. The worst part about that is that you still don't feel confident because you never address the real reason behind your anxiety or your depression. So option one, you can avoid your anxiety and depression for 3 days, or option two, you can address it for 365 days while increasing your happiness, your confidence, and your income. So which option sounds like the best option, right? Option one and option two. Probably option two, am I right? So again, what you're going to get is the Mental Performance Club, the monthly coaching calls, the Ultimate Goal Crusher course, the Art and Science of Building Motivation, the Atomic Habits Hand Guide, the Time Management Map, King Solomon's Success Scriptures, the Morning Ritual ebook, the Grief Recovery Roadmap PDF, and the Addictions Annihilator Package PDF. Plus, you're going to get the bonus office hours, all for $13,373 per year. But you guys get to get it only for $997 for the entire year. That means that it's about less than $4 a day is what you'll be paying. So this offer is only available for the next 48 hours. And after that, this screen will go blank with the offer. So you only have 48 hours to take advantage of this. Now, I always like to see if I can over deliver, right? I like to over deliver because you guys have made it this far and I feel like you guys deserve this. So I'm gonna over deliver for these next just 2 minutes, if you will. So for the first 3 people to say yes, you'll get a personalized onboarding call with me where I'll walk you through the club and explain how this club will help you with anything that you're going through with your anxiety or depression. I will personally walk you through this when you join the Mental Performance Club. But also you're going to get the Depression Playbook for entrepreneurs and professionals, which shows you 35 mistakes you must avoid when feeling depressed. You're also going to get the Self-Sabotage and Self-Empowerment webinar, how to get out of your own way and become your #1 asset. And then last, you're going to get the Self-Love Handbook, how to boost your self-esteem and heal your mind, body, and soul. So the first 3 people will get, again, this free gift, the onboarding call, the Depression Playbook for entrepreneurs and professionals, the Self-Sabotage to Self-Empowerment webinar, and the Self-Love Handbook. All this is priceless because you can't get it anywhere else. This is the only place that I'm going to be offering these 3 or these 4 offers, if you will. So remember this guy, right? Jordan, you found a coach, found a system, became a champion. Right now, I'm offering you guys as a coach, I'm offering you guys a system. As you guys have also seen, all these people have been a part of this system. They've hired me as a coach and their confidence increased. Will you be next? So this is everything that you're going to get, guys, right? Everything that you're going to get is on the top left screen, plus the 7-day finger licking guarantee, which means that, hey, there's no risk, right? If anything, I'm taking all the risk because I got to buy you lunch if you don't like it. So if anything, hey, just get lunch on me, right? That's what you'll get, plus all the bonuses that come with it. So that is all. If you guys have any questions, you can type them in the chat. You can unmute yourself, anything. I'll be here waiting. So again, the link is in the chat for you guys to take action. And I'll stay here for a few minutes answering any questions.